Greetings, queens and kings, of you stopping by. Welcome back to my channel. So excited to be back. I'm so sorry about the delay, but I'm very excited that 2024 is almost on its way. 2023 has been great to me, especially in my new acting journey. So I look forward to sharing more content on that, what up and coming projects that I have going, and definitely more reviews from our favorite shows, new shows, and movies. Now, is the ride over for Tamera? Let's see. Stay tuned. Now, one of the things that I really want to discuss when it comes to Preston and Danni. We know some of us have been a little upset about how Danni has done Preston, but I spoke on it in the past about how Preston basically tried to rush things when it came to Danni and their relationship. One of the things I was thinking about was the fact that, yes, he has moved from, his home to try to start something with Danni and develop a relationship and where she lives, and it's basically a situation where somebody doesn't have anything going for them, maybe not, no friends or family in that particular area, so everything is about Danni. And because he doesn't have a life outside of her, everything that she goes out and does is under a microscope for Preston. And I can't totally put the blame on Danni for this situation, because he really wanted to get something serious with her very soon. She was the first black woman he's ever dated, so he was intrigued by that. And, his heart got involved, and he fell in love pretty quickly. And Danni is at a point in her life where she went through a lot of struggles, a lot of traumas in the past with men, and she really had to get things going for herself. She really needs to get her life in order to figure out what she wants, who she wants. But one of the things that Preston has done is, I think, really rejuvenated her hope in the fact that there are good men out there, and she deserves to be loved, and she could be loved. But now she has the dynamic of a black man having that same interest as well, who appears, and I say that lightly, to be a good man with his head on his shoulders and has an interest in her, and that's AKA Tony. But we have yet to know about Tony and know if he is the man for her. But she's jumping from one thing to another without really trying to, figure things out when it comes to Preston. I think she really has fallen for Preston, but at the same time, she's scared of the relationship. And maybe she feels like it's going a little too fast and he's suffocating her a little bit. And I really think that he should have learned more about her as a friend, had more conversations and communication, and taken it a little lightly instead of trying to put so much pressure on her so soon. So I think this is what this communication is headed when it comes to the two of them. And I don't know at this point if they'll ever resolve their issues or ever come back together. But I think they started wrong. They started fast, and it's really complicated things along the line. And it doesn't help the fact that Danni is really not talking to him like she should. She can't continue to avoid him, but she has to really lay her cards on the table. And I think they needed to pace themselves, and how they started the dynamics and complexities of this relationship from the door has made it rough, and that's why it's continuing to unravel and not be where it should be. So it's really unfortunate. I feel bad for both of them, because I think these two people really care for each other. But I think how they handle their relationship is poor. And, it's at the point now where Preston really doesn't understand where he should go with this. He knows something's going on with someone. And he's at the point, the breaking point, where I think he's alone and he's thinking about what he had with Mindy. And, is he really doing too much with a woman who really is not ready to take this relationship serious? And I don't think it should have went serious. I think it should have started off slow, and this is the problem. Now, here we go with Miss Heather. Oh, Heather B. I forgot her name on the character on the show, but she's there. She sees, that they answered her call, and there's an issue with Heather. One of the things I want to see, because we know that we so upset with Heather and how she's handling little Michael. But if you think about her life, and it's very much parallel with Zach's life. Has anyone ever thought about that? Because as I started thinking about her character, I think Heather is a woman who is a victim of her circumstances in her life. And I'm sure she wasn't loved properly as a child. I'm sure she didn't grow up in a good environment, because a lot of times we just duplicate that which we know. And if Zach thinks about his life and how what his mother struggled with him, that his mother really loved him, but she had her own problems. She had her own demons. And this is basically Heather. And he sees himself and Michael. And he probably sees his mom and Heather as well. But if he really thinks about it and look at the situation, he maybe can have a little more compassion for her. But I'm thinking about the fact that, Heather didn't have to have this baby. She didn't have to have Michael. We know the lifestyle she lived. She could very well have gotten an abortion, but I think Heather really wanted someone to love her, and she wanted to love that baby. But because of her lifestyle and no proper guidance, she didn't know how to handle him. Bad relationships, unstable work life made it hard for her really to raise the child. And he had some, probably a little learning, developmental issues, and a lot of that may be her. It could be generic, who knows? But she doesn't know how to handle the trauma of a child like this. So, I'm starting to really, just look at it from another perspective, because there's a lot of, sisters out there like this. So, of course, we see that, they're trying to handle the situation with Heather. We could see she probably was battered by the guy that she was seeing. The cops came. It's this whole issue. But she says Michael is fine. And she really wanted Zach and her out the house. She's pissed off because the nosy neighbor went and called the cops in the first place and told them, there's a situation going on. I don't know how much they checked on Michael to know if he's really okay or not. The police should have made sure that everything was okay before they made the father leave. But, of course, hey, this is TV, and they told him that he has to go. But the cop is very aware of the situation in Zach, because, that's the same cop they met before. So this won't be the last time that they would be dealing with the dynamics of Heather and her volatile lifestyle when it comes to little Michael. And all we have to do is pray that everything turns out okay when it comes to him, because they will be back to deal with this situation. But Heather really needs to get her life together. She needs counseling. She needs parenting skills, and really just get a hold of her life, because Zach was off the chain like this too until he met Fatima. So the right person in your life and the right guidance and, just counseling, I think, can help Heather get on track with herself and be a better mom. Because, her and Zach basically had probably the same type of upbringing and lifestyle. So hopefully he can understand that. And we can see both of them get some help in the future. Now, here we have Karen. She gets the call from this guy who is really a little shady. I don't know why he is so much, attached to Karen. Here we man who claims he's married with about 9 children and worrying about this single mom and what she should do with her business, which is really none of his business. But he wants to meet with her to go over to, the place and, let her know about this place that she can buy. So she's like, okay, she's agreed to meet up with him. He also offered that he had some things for the baby. His children, have outgrew them. So he wants to pass it down to her. So of course she calls Fatima, and Fatima don't understand. Like, we not besties now. Like, we talking on the phone, like on a regular, like, come on, Karen. But, she said that she has some things for little Michael, because of course her baby can't wear some of these things right now, and she feels that little Michael can. So I guess she's trying to do her part, get in good with Fatima and Zach. Well, if she gets in good with Fatima, excuse me, if she gets in good with Fatima, she gets in good with Zach. So Fatima's a little confused, but of course she thanks her and says that's fine. And they had their little niceties, and basically that was that. But Fatima's a little confused of how the drastic 360 that Karen has made, and I really don't blame her. Now we have Preston getting up the next morning and waking up Danny. Did anybody realize girl got a full face beat flawless makeup early in the morning when she wakes up? Now I want to wake up flawless and fabulous like that as well, Danny, but it is TV. Like they could have had Sister playing like make this real, but of course it's TV, so she wakes up with her makeup on. Okay. I digress. But here we go, Preston a little frustrated because of course he still wants to talk. I can't blame him because she has not spoken to him yet about the situation with this man at the airport and just to see where they're going with their relationship. So because she won't talk to him, what do we tend to do? Come to our own conclusions that you really don't want me around. You really don't care for me like that. You only probably wanted me because the guy was attacking you. And, some form of protection, I guess some chivalry, superhero type syndrome. And that's where it lies. I mean, he said he loved her, but, he seems right now to think that she's seeing somebody on him. And she knows that's not the case. She hasn't slept with Tony. But people will come up with their own conclusion, Danny, if you do not let them know what's going on. If you're acting weird, you're coming in late, you don't want to probably sleep with him, you don't, really have much to say, and you're frustrated, what is he supposed to do? Preston has no other life outside of you. He's not like he's friends with your friends like that. And when you are isolated and the one woman that you love and want to develop a relationship and the reason that you're here is not giving you what you need, I guess that's the point now where his level of frustration is like, I have to move on. I did have a woman that wanted to marry me, and Danny is like, first of all, you're coming to the wrong conclusions. What you're thinking is not true, but she's still not saying anything. She's letting him think whatever he wants to think. And that's not good either, Danny. You cannot ignore it. But when you have somebody else, though, waiting in the rafters, you tend to do that to the person that's there. And that's a problem as well. So, he doesn't know what to do. He can't read her. It's at the point now where he has to go. He has to go and make a life for himself because it's like butting your head against a brick wall with Danny. So, unfortunately, this may be goodbye. Put in the comments, do y'all think it's over and it should be over? What do you think? Andy now is talking to Jordan, who calls her, and I don't know this situation, even though Jordan seems like a cool guy and everything, personally me, because it's so messy, and this is, I've been dealing with a man who I'm in love with, I thought loved me. He turns out to be a complete devil, which you knew that already, Andy. And has like a whole other family he's developed, a pregnant woman, and that pregnant woman is, the sister to the guy that you've been talking to. I don't know if I want to have a relationship with Jordan. I don't even know why Jordan, from his perspective with his sister and this woman that his sister's man was dealing with, it's ugly to me, and I don't know why he even wants to be in that situation with Andy, a woman he just met. There's so many other people out there, and I think this situation is so messy that they both need to just leave it alone. What do you think? Do you think she should continue with Jordan or leave that alone? Yeah, what do you think? I think it's something they just should leave alone. Even though it's refreshing and nice, but the situation with Gary in the midst of it, no, thank you. So Karen comes by, and of course they're chatting, and she explained to her what's going on, and they just trying, I guess, to just have some small talk, and she's checking up on her before she goes to work. Let her know, Jordan calls, but, I don't know. The situation is just not cool. But anyway, now Danny is thinking this Preston is coming in. He made a mistake, and she realizes it's Sabrina. So Sabrina is talking to her and feels really bad. She can't believe that Preston, broke up, that he left. And Danny is saying, yeah, basically she's thinking that's what he always does. He's always running when the heat is on, but you're not giving him much of a choice, Danny. But we see here that Danny is really hurt by what's going on. Sabrina feels bad for her because her crying is the first time I saw Danny cry for any man. That let me know that she really does love him, but it's a point of confusion. I think Preston came at the wrong time in her life when Danny really needs to observe things and get her life in order and really think about who she is, what she wants, and who she wants. And make better decisions for herself. So I think the timing with her and Preston was off. So, her and Sabrina are leaving for work now. In the meantime, Zach is here worried about Michael and, what's probably going on with court. And, Fatima's basically saying we got to wait this out. You got to go through the process of court. But I know you're worried and upset, and we'll handle it. But, you got to be patient. And hopefully we'll hear back soon on how, with this whole court process. Then she shares with him how Karen called, surprisingly enough, with some clothes that she asked for little Michael. And he was like, oh, my God, like she did? Like, what did she want? Like, she's really being that nice? That's such a shocker. But at least he doesn't have to deal with that headache of Karen and Fatima going at it anymore. So that's a little bit peace in the midst of the situation with Michael. But I love these two, how they communicate and ride for each other. I think they are a breath of fresh air and sisters with how their relationship is growing. I hope it stays the right course and everything gets settled when it comes to his relationship with Karen's child, if that is the case, and with Heather and this whole thing with trying to get custody of little Michael, or if this is even his son, and nothing was wrong with that test. So with those tests, so we'll see how that goes. Now here we have Tony and Danny meeting up in their favorite spot in the parking lot, and they talked about the mess and the fiasco with Gary and how he deserved to have his ass whooped, and they were both ready to do it. So Bonnie and Clyde here are very much the same when it comes to handling business. So they saw that they have that in common. And then one thing I didn't like with him is the fact that you have an interest in this woman, and who you find out she's with someone, and you're basically insulting her man. I think that's totally out of pocket. And I'm wondering why this person, we see he's not a ticket agent. He has a pretty much executive job, a VP job at the airlines. Like, why does he want Danny? I'm starting to get really curious. I mean, she's a beautiful woman, don't get me wrong, like she's not good enough for him, but you've listened to her conversations, you see the drama that she's had with her and her friends, you done heard it all. Why do you want to be with her? I'm still, what it is that interests you so much about her. I'm still curious about him. Put in the comments what you think about Tony. Now, here this guy too, he's very pushy when it comes now to showing Karen the apartment. Of course he has the clothes for her. And did you realize, like, he was the one to go in the car and put something away for her? I don't know why he wanted to do it, not have her go to her own car, and then push the fact that, leave your car here, ride with me. And this is still a uncomfortable situation because I don't know you like that. And he's like, my wife wouldn't even worry about me. Like, she ain't concerned with me. Like, why would you say that? Like, does your wife even exist? Do y'all think he married with 9 children? It was just something really suspect about him trying to get close to Karen. Do you think Aaron is behind this? Is Aaron really gone? I don't know, but something smells a little fishy. So he talked her into leaving her car and coming with him in his truck. And she agreed with it. She feels like he's a guy. I think he's using the children and the clothes as a way to rope Karen in. Okay, so she left. He went to the car and did whatever to her car, put the stuff in there. I don't even know if he locked the door. Maybe he left the door unlocked so somebody could go in the car. I don't know, but he was the one to go to Karen's car, which I thought was a little shady, and handle that situation. Then he opened the door to let her in the truck, and he's taking her to the shop. Something's not right. Season 7, I think we're going to learn a little bit more about our man here and what's going on between him, Karen, and that realtor we're about to see. Now we have old girl who's finally been discovered with the PI that Gary hired. And, of course, he's not trying to make no small talk with Tamera. He ain't feeling her. She goes in the house. She sees that Gary not feeling her. And that's when Gary whips out the envelope to let Hayden know, oh, your girl Fatima set you up. Yes, she was a plug. She set up this whole scheme. Tamera's basically a hoe. She plotted with her and Fatima's cousin, and they did you in, bro. They did you in. You've been scammed, and Hayden is looking for revenge. What is going down? Is the ride over for Tamera? What is Hayden on plan against Fatima and Gary? Misery loves company, so you was loving to bring this news. Let's get into episode 21. Peace.